Monica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal lives and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 You know what's extremely dangerous to our not democracy, constitutional republic, is every single news outlet speaking from the same script. Jarrett, have you seen this video before?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's creepy, man. You watch that video and people say it's like the Matrix. You're sucked in. They're all saying the same thing like robots. It's a shame. You know, I think that's dangerous to quote unquote our democracy. People just with these crazy talking points. I mean, it's just so scary. And it's crazy because it's all different media from across the country. That wasn't one or two outlets. That was like, what, like 30 or 40? All saying things verbatim, word for word. Insane.
Well, you know what's crazy is I recognize some of those faces because some of those are local to our market. So the big question is, who's writing the script for all of this? Because it's got to be coming from somewhere. And do you remember we talked about, Jarrett, not that long ago, Project Mockingbird? Do you remember that?
I believe so. But can you refresh my memory and also for the audience? Oh, shout out to everyone watching. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We love you.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, if you are out there live, drop a live in the hashtag live in the comments. If you're watching replay, drop a hashtag replay in the comments. We want to hear from you guys. So go ahead. Feel free to ask questions today as we go through the show of us or our guests or add comments. We do bring that up live as you guys do that. But Project Mockingbird, Jarrett, was where the CIA had come out. What's up, my brother Kenton? Had come out and they've already admitted to this, that they are controlling the narrative of the legacy news media. And so all of this that is being out here, and was that creatively edited? Possibly. But there's been a very obvious news bias. Jarrett, we get taken down almost every day, at least once a week. We get our stuff shadow banned. And I've seen, and I guarantee you, that other friends of ours would say the same. And I've talked to people across social media that get their stuff taken down on a regular basis. I talk to people every single day that say, hey, what I'm putting out on social media, whether it's whatever platform it is, I'm not going to name any names to try to keep us safe here, but you guys know the platforms, and we get stuff taken down, and especially if we're saying certain things about certain topics or about calling certain people out, and guys, we get called for misinformation. We get called for other things, but it's not misinformation. We're quoting facts, and they're still taking it down for misinformation. So I'm excited to talk to our guest today about exactly this, about the legacy media and the media's bias, a fake news bias that stretches across, and frankly, the globalist agenda to use the fake news media to push their globalist efforts. So, guys, as we get into this, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Covenant Coffee. Thank you, Covenant Coffee, for sponsoring 511 Media for as long as you have. Covenant Coffee is doing an amazing job in Kern County, Bakersfield, bringing hope in a cup to the emancipated foster youth and the foster youth of Kern County. The emancipated foster youth is often forgotten about group that is largely part of the statistics of drug abuse, overdose, suicide, human trafficking, and so much more. So Covenant Coffee is making an effort, a large effort, to reverse those trends in Kern County. You can go visit them at covenantcoffee.org, or if you're in Bakersfield, you can visit them across the street from us in Mohawk in California, or on North Chester. Go check them out right now, covenantcoffee.org. And want to make a couple quick announcements as we're here, guys. Number one, and we got Jarrett, we got an amazing show planned for the end of this week, talking about AmFest. We're going to show you a video in just a second, but I think you guys are going to love it. We're going to be counting down the top 10 reasons why y'all should go to AmFest. But go ahead and watch this video for now. And I do got to give you a quick disclaimer on this. It's going to mention early bird registration for AmFest. Early bird registration unfortunately has ended, but we're ahead of it, so they haven't had a chance to edit the new video removing early bird registration. But you can still go check them out. We're going to be doing some other promotions with them coming up very, very soon. Go ahead, Darius.
You represent your presence here at the largest multi-day event in conservative grassroots history. Is a message that will be heard by these people. Phoenix, Arizona, people from all over the country. It's remarkable because it brings everybody together. My favorite of the year. Energy, let us want you to see it. Stakes are high. We have only begun to fight.
At least partially because of the efforts we're making here at 511 and the efforts of our guest today. Today's guest, we're going to be celebrating victory at AmFest, guys, for conservative values, Christian values, bringing morality back to America, ending the ongoing wars across the U.S. We're going to hopefully be able to avoid World War III. We're gonna restore the security at the border. We're gonna lower our taxes, and we're gonna put at least slow down, if not an end to the crazy inflation that's been going on for the last several years. Guys, be at AmFest. You guys are gonna love it. Again, we're doing a top 10 episode the end of this week about why you guys should be there. But guys, you don't want to miss this. So we got another event coming up. The end of this week, just a few more days. Jarrett and I, Renata, the rest of the team are going to be at. Jarrett, go ahead and take this one.
Yeah, everybody, it's here. It's finally here. Blexit Night of Fate in Philly is coming this weekend, 5 to 7 p.m., 914 at In Delight Church. It's going to be amazing. Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, Madeline Brown. I'm going to be there. Pierre's going to be there. Renata, Mike, it's 511. It's going to be some amazing food, a great time. And guys, events like this are extremely dangerous to democracy. So you definitely don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great time. You know, we're going to go out there because you know what we're doing? We're boots on the ground. We're praising the Lord. We're in the community. And that's dangerous to the left. And they don't want to see that. So make sure you go there. And also make sure you go to AmFest. Get yourself an early Christmas present. You earned it. You knocked doors. You walked. You supported the president when people called you racist, sexist, homophobic, all these words, right? You supported it. You earned it, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, and guys, if you're out there watching, make sure to like, share, subscribe, send our content to somebody that you think needs to hear it. Make sure to follow us on all the platforms, wherever you are. We're there. Wherever you're watching, whatever other platform you're on. Guaranteed you're going to find us there. And we're pushing out to even a few more platforms today. Extra thanks courtesy to Jarrett Branch, and our guest coming up. We're going to be on their platform coming up very, very soon as well. We're working out the details and the workflows of how to do that. But we have an amazing guest today that's making a difference in media, making a difference in bringing the truth back to media. And I'm excited to be bringing him to our stage. Welcome to the stage today, Sam Anthony from yournews.com. Jarrett, you want to do the details on the bio here? You're muted, brother.
Hey, I'm sorry about that, guys. Live show stuff happens, but we got a great, guys. Sometimes the powers that be just want to shut you down. So the bio. Sam Anthony's a great guy. And again, guys, more social media issues. I'm sorry about that. Guys, for some reason, I'm shut out of my Microsoft, and I do apologize. Don't know what happened. But we have Sam Anthony.
No worries, guys. Bring up that private shot. We got the bio there, guys. Sorry, Sam. Okay, so Sam's got over 2 decades of expertise in online media industry, propelled by his convictions that the internet would revolutionize traditional media and usher in a more vibrant and adaptable media landscape. He's played a pivotal role in designing and implementing technology that has enabled tens of thousands of journalists to seamlessly transition into this new digital realm. Sam is dedicated to establishing a media platform that unveils the truth without censorship. His mission is to restore the power of the press to the people, where he firmly believes it rightfully belongs. And I agree with you, Sam. So awesome to have you here. Excited to share your mission. And we got a lot to share. And you're raising some money too. So we're going to be talking about that as well.
All right. Well, hey guys, Mike, Jarrett, thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here as well. I got a lot to share with your audience. I'm blown away at all the stuff that's been happening. I was one of those people that never believed the media was lying until Trump got elected. And that's when the light bulb went off for me, because they were just lying straight to our faces, and it was so obvious. And even when it was debunked, they continued on. So, I was late to the game, but I'm here now.
Yeah. Well, excited to have you. And you guys are doing some awesome things over there at yournews.com. You guys are kind of the new media, if you will. And I'm looking forward to seeing some great successes with what you guys are doing.
Well, thanks. What we do is inevitable. So it's going to happen whether I do it or somebody else does it, because the legacy media has a limited lifespan. It's the average age of the cable news viewer is 70 years old, along with terrestrial radio, on the dial. So, they're only going to be around for so long. What's going to replace it is going to be a platform like ours, which allows the public to interact and share in the narrative locally. So for your audience, we're a localized news platform. Our website looks like the Chicago Tribune in every city in the United States. So we do both local and national news everywhere. But the key to the whole success is we empower the press to the people. And what I envision is literally hundreds of thousands of citizen journalists that are reporting the news on local levels all over the United States. That's where the ultimate thing that's going to happen is that it's going to basically change the way news is distributed, right? There's still a demand for news. As a matter of fact, news consumption has never been higher, but it's just how people consume it has changed. So what we built was a revenue model that supports it.
Yeah. So Sam, let's talk about, so people understand, because it's a little bit to wrap your head around. You had to show us in real time, like what that looks like, but how you're delivering real-time news for each market individually based on people's location. Can you talk about how you're doing that?
Yeah. All news is local somewhere, right, Mike? It's either going to be a city story, it's going to be a county story. What we call market, which is television DMAs, we're set up by the 210 TV DMAs as well. A state story, a regional story, or a national story. That's it. Okay. So when you log into our site, there's only one website. We geolocate you, just like Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, LinkedIn, Netflix. Everybody does it. So I know where you live right down to the zip code. If for some reason you block it because some people have a VPN, you put in your zip code, change locations, put in your zip code, it takes you to that city. So just imagine you're looking at the local newspaper, the daily. So we do both national and local news. We can serve a story like your kid's Little League game to a city. So if you live in Schaumburg, Illinois, that's sports news for Schaumburg, Illinois. But if it's the high school football game in the same market, that's going to run to the market. It's still sports news, but the distribution of content will be based on what the television DMA is, which could be 20 counties. And then obviously the Monday Night Football game is national news, still sports news, but it's distributed to all zip codes.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Absolutely. Darius, as we're talking, if you can pull up their website, that'd be cool. So we can do a screen share on that. But Sam, the other thing I think is really cool is that we can just as easily change our location and say we're from Bakersfield, California, and we want to see news for say Round Rock, Texas, where we used to live. We can just easily change our zip code and we can see that news as well, right? Can you talk about that for a second?
Yes. So first of all, most people are only interested in the local news in their community. So all the national stuff is going to be running to the whole country, every zip code, and they're by categories: sports, business, politics, entertainment, world, US, front page. But then there's a lot of content that geographically may not be relevant to the whole country. Example would be your kid's Little League game is not national news, right? It's sports news, but it's only for that specific city. So we can, or if it's the city council meeting in your city, it's only going to be relevant to that specific city. In politics, so we could serve content based on geographical relevance. Most people don't care about the city council meeting in a city that they don't live in. However, maybe they're going there next week or next month and they want to see what's going on in the area, or maybe they used to live there. So yes, we could serve up content. So the city you're in right now, if you scroll up to the top of the page, what city is that actually in? What does it say at the top?
Bakersfield,
it says
California.
Bakersfield, California. So do you see where it says local edition? There's something that says your politics. Click on top stories. Keep going a little bit right there. So this is going to be like the front page for local. And I don't know what that says, but they're stories that are going to be relevant to your market or maybe to the state. Now what I want you to do, and you could scroll down, there's the content side
there.
Yeah. So now to give you an example, type in zip code 57101.
Go to the top. Yep. It's a green button.
Yeah. 57101.
Yep.
Very user-friendly site. I like it. Really
it
easy.
is. It's all based on technology that we understand.
Yeah. Now go to the top and you'll see local edition and just find top stories again. So the only thing different here is going to be the local news because all the games yesterday are national news. So I don't know what these say, but is Bloomfield, Nebraska suspect deemed competent. So all of this is the only people that care about this are the Sioux Falls, South Dakota people, that market.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yes.
And
it does.
and by the way, all this content comes in from our content providers. They're our news reporters. And then if you go back up to the top and hit local, or you click change location, just do 60601 at Chicago. Just a bigger market. You get a lot more stuff in Chicago because there's millions of people.
Naturally, yeah. 60601, Darius?
Yeah. And so just do that local edition top stories here. Now, the content you're going to see comes in from actual news reporters. And if you scroll down the page, all of this is going to be local news for the Chicagoland area. But here's the cool part. If you go back up to the...
Darius? Oh, sorry, Sam.
Yeah, if you go back up to the top of the page, like there's a little green button there you can't see because you're blocking, like you have an ad blocker on, which is blocking that. That's a submit your news button. But what I want you to do is mouse over local edition and click on, let's say, entertainment news. All of this is user generated. This is people that create accounts and they post it. The content comes in as pending review. And if you scroll down, this would be local stuff that is happening in the community that the community posts. It could be a nonprofit. They're having an event. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. And can we tell them, Sam, how they can submit news?
Yes. By any chance, who's operating the computer?
Darius.
Okay, so Darius, take your ad blocker off if you know how to do that. At least for this site, like pause it for this site.
He might not know how to do it. This is my laptop that he's using. Scroll to the bottom, Darius. I know that there's a link down there too, at the very bottom. Very
the bottom of the page is going to be for people that want to be monetized citizen journalists that do this for a living.
Okay, yeah, click that button, Darius.
Well, that's going to be changed location. Oh no, it's not. Okay, here.
Yeah.
So, and now normally there would be a form to the right you fill out, but your computer thinks that's an ad. But it's not blocking the ad; it's blocking the form.
Right. Okay. But guys, you can fill out the form. It's super easy, and then they have to approve you. But the approval process is very smooth, and you'll get approved. So you can submit news no matter who you are. You don't have to be credentialed. You don't have to work for a news outlet. And, they're gonna make sure that you're not posting malicious stuff. And if you want to talk to that for a second too, Sam.
Well, so here, this would be like the people that fill out this is just, it's kind of like Craigslist. You create an account and then you could post. So anybody could do it. There's no approval process. The content comes in as pending review. And then once approved, they'll get email notification with a direct link to their story. We approve the article simply because we want to make sure that, nobody's putting any porn up or anything that's illegal. And then everybody that submits an article, if you allowed them to put their own stuff live, it would be front page national news. So you have to back them down to where it's supposed to be. The form that you were talking about was the Become a Citizen Journalist, which was at the bottom of the page. That's a little different. So not every content creator is monetized. I'm not going to monetize a PR firm or a nonprofit when I'm publishing their events and the stuff they're getting paid to do, right? It's free advertising for their client or for their event. But we allow the events to be published simply because we want the content. But the monetization part is going to be for people like you, content creators that are trying to make a living at this. And the way that works is they have to fill out an application. We approve them. And then once they're approved, they can start submitting content. And then they share in the ad revenue. It's no different than YouTube. I mean, everybody knows YouTube has a monetization model. X has a monetization model. Facebook, which you're not getting on, has a monetization model. And Rumble has a monetization model. But for conservatives, there's only three. You have Rumble, you have X, and you have your news. Those are the only three. They're all in completely different businesses, but they all complement each other.
Yeah.
So
here's the form too, by the way.
Oh yeah,
get that pulled up.
So that's the submit your news button, and then you fill out that form and you just follow the instructions. It's no different than setting up an account at Craigslist and posting. And then there's
except for more secure and better.
Yeah, except for more secure and better, right? But that's how people create an account with us and then submit the content. So the reason that we do it this way is we want to know who you are, okay? It's important that we know who you are, but also when you submit the article, once it gets approved, you're going to get an email notification with a direct link to your story that you could share on social media, which drives even more eyeballs. So what I am, the best description is Facebook for news with a YouTube monetization component. That's what I do. Just
that's a cool way to describe it, Sam.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and I love how you're making the people once again and having the power and the fourth estate. For me, I don't feel like legacy media is no longer the fourth estate. They call themselves trusted sources, and they're not trusted whatsoever. It's like my ex-wife when she says I changed. I'm like, sure, Jan, you changed. That never changes. They're all the same. So, but I love what you're doing. So how do you keep your site a trusted source? How do you keep your site not like the other horrible people we just talked about earlier?
Jarrett, I'm going to tell you some stuff, okay? And pay attention to this. The legacy media is not going to survive. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the age of the people viewing it, and nobody's following up behind because consumption has changed. Just like when was the last time you used a Selectric typewriter? When was the last time you sent a telegraph? When was the last time you rode in a horse and buggy? It doesn't happen because there's always a product that replaces something else. The next generation news platform, and mark my words, okay, what we do is inevitable. It will become the next generation news platform. And what I'm envisioning, there are over, and I think, Mike, you saw this, there was over 500,000 people that are out of work in the news business. They call themselves.
It was more than that. It was almost 600. Yeah.
Well, it's 520, but the interesting part is it was 460 a month ago, and then it jumped 60,000 with all the layoffs that happened. What's going to happen is those people are going to end up transitioning to a platform like mine. Probably, I would say 80, 90% aren't going to survive. So you're talking about maybe 50,000 will survive. And the reason I say that is because they're the old guard. They're the ones used to go to work at the newspaper where they get $50,000 a year paychecks. And the new way of monetization is all based on the public's perception of who you are and the content that you're producing. The public decides who makes it. And everybody knows YouTube, right? 90% of the money is made by 10% of the people. It's because how many YouTube channels have you seen where the last posting was 4 years ago? It's because they just didn't make it. They tried to be a news reporter. They couldn't do it. So the public's going to decide. So the way our platform works, in answer to your question, Jarrett, is we don't fact check a damn thing. Want to know why? Because if you're the journalist and you're monetized, it's your ass on the line. You're putting your name on it. And if you're putting your name on it, you're screwed if you tell a lie. And you want to know how we're going to know if you're lying? Because the public's going to let us know. They do every time. So when you write a story, you better be sure to dot every I and cross every T, because it will come back on you and bite you in the ass. And it's okay to make a mistake every now and then. You could just fix it with, a correction. But if somebody's flat out lying, the public will let us know and we will ban them from the platform. Sound familiar?
Yep.
So we don't need Snopes. We don't need George Soros to fund these fact checkers. I could give a rat's ass what they think. I've got emails from them telling me that there's stories on our site that they fact check, and always the response is F you every single time. Okay. It's my exact response, right? I don't care. The public will let you know if somebody's lying. And by the way, who knows better in the community than the community people what is BS and what's not BS? Yeah. So what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of people that have never been in the news business before. Like, and I always use this, some soccer mom that, kid goes to school. She's proactive. She's at the school board meeting. She goes to the city council meetings. People in town like her. She's going to sign up to become a citizen journalist because, not for nothing, not everybody can show up at the city council meeting, at the school board meeting, right? For number one, they don't have enough chairs if it's in a community of 50,000. But somebody has to be there to tell the community what happened, right? Mm-hmm. It's called the news reporter. But now that person is going to be able to communicate, write that story, and push that out to their people. And it's going to be, and it's going to happen, and you're going to see them going, do you see what Sally wrote? You see what they're doing at the school board meeting or the city council meeting? That's where it's all going. So what I envision is the people taking control of the media. And as I hear Ann Vandersteel say all the time, Sam, we are the media now. She's right.
Yes, spot on. It's like legacy media became the blockbuster information. It's just holding on for dear life while we're streaming past them. Organizations like yours, stuff like 511 Media. I see the change coming, and I think they see the change coming too. I think that's why they're trying to latch on to influencers and other media people so they can have some sort of say. This is why they pay these people to come to the DNC. Because shout out to Viv. We got this great quote. You might want to take this. Viv, we love when she chimes in. 511 contributor. She's awesome. You'll see a lot more of her coming soon.
Yeah. So Viv saying, which I said last night in my post that got kind of shadow banned. Legacy media is being squashed, and this is exactly what we're talking about, Sam. Legacy media is being squashed by the freedom of information available on the internet. This is why certain federal and global powers want to squash our access to free information. And that's exactly, I personally stopped watching Fox News like about 4 years ago, almost to the day. And occasionally I'll, like tonight during the debate. And by the way, we're going to have a great show tomorrow talking about the debate panel. But I'll be watching, probably Fox News because they're the most conservative leaning, but they still have as much of a liberal bias as anywhere else. But this fake news that has been being promoted, and they have these fact checkers, as Sam so aptly put it, being backed by George Soros and the PolitiFact and the Snopes.com. They're unbiased fact checkers. Bulls crap. They're not unbiased. They definitely have their bias. And Sam, I love that we're bringing forward the citizens that are bringing the true news, because like you take a story and let's talk about some of the examples, but like one that I'm really interested in is this Aurora, Colorado, right? Because you have all the citizens saying this is what's going on, and then you have the legacy media saying, oh no, this is what's going on. Who's telling the truth? Well, we know that legacy media is backed by big money, big pharma, big social, big tech, George Soros, and all of these others. So what is the agenda that they're trying to push? And then we have all these citizens on social media saying, well, this is what's going on in my hometown, but the news says this. Let's talk about some of the stories, Sam, the examples that we were talking about earlier.
You hit it on the head. The legacy media is the talking arm of the federal government. Let's call it the way it is, right? I mean, it's the government influence in media is massive. In the 80s, there was over 400 independent news outlets. Today's there's 6. Everybody saw the Sinclair Broadcasting thing where, yeah, independent. There's nothing independent. It's all scripted. The people that call themselves investigative journalists are just really no more than actors and actresses. Anybody could read a teleprompter, right? That's how this works. So you're looking at government influence on media, and you're looking at advertiser influence. Why do you think they got rid of Tucker Carlson, which was by far the dumbest thing on planet Earth to ever do? Simply because the moment he broke out of his chains of Fox, which had the 3 million viewers, he started getting 100 million. He just became bigger than life. And he even said, I was a little worried, what am I going to do now? And I didn't realize that my audience would grow by a 100-fold once I broke out of Fox. It's a self-contained vehicle. So that's why they call it the World Wide Web. It just reaches everybody. So the news stories, and this is what I absolutely know is going to happen. The way news organizations work, and I'm going to just talk about the local paper, is Jarrett, let's say that you're a news reporter, you're an investigative journalist, and you break some massive story, like you've got something that's as big as Epstein. It's enormous. You follow everything you need to do. You dot every I, you cross every T. You've got this story, and the public needs to know it. So you bring it to the newspaper, which then goes in front of a review board. Not you, your story. The review board looks at it, and they could squash it for any reason, but you don't get an answer. Want to know why? It could be because that's my cousin, because it's a big advertiser. We're going to be losing money if we break this story. It could be because I'm woke and I'm having sex with children, and this is a child sex trafficking thing, and now all of a sudden it's going to ruin it for me. I don't know what the answer is, but the review board could squash any story, which is wrong on every level. If it's truthful, it needs to go out. So here's how our platform works. You set up an account, you become a journalist on your news. You find that same story. You now become your own review board, and you look at your article and go, I approve this. And you send it out. That's how it's going to work, right? And so what I see happening, it doesn't matter if it's at a local level or a national level, is this becoming the next WikiLeaks? Now, I want all your audience to know, it's not about politics. What we are, 99.9% of our content is just local news somewhere. It's the rooftop bar that opened in Chicago. It's the museum that just closed in New York. It's about local news. It's sports, entertainment, business, politics, with the local flavor that's in it as well. And that's the most important piece. However, what is a news agency's job? It's to defend the public, right? It's to be able to put the truth out
to
there.
be.
Well, guess what? We're going back to the old way. That I can assure you.
Darius, can you drop a truth bomb for that? Because that was fire right there. That dropped a truth bomb. But
go ahead, Jarrett.
So I want to run something back that you mentioned about Tucker Carlson. I did notice the change when he left Fox News. He just blew up, and his relevance just exceeded. And for me, I feel like legacy media is trying to stay relevant. It's kind of like when you're watching like Kamala Harris or someone on the left do a TikTok dance. They're off beat. They're out of sync. They haven't read the room since 2005, and they're all about explosive exposés. They're no more than like Hallmark movies. They're not really anything to them. They're a bunch of fluff, and it's just desperation to be exclusive. So I love what you're doing. You're not having anything exclusive. You're giving people a chance to come out here and say things. But I just want to know, why do you think, in your opinion and your expertise, that legacy media is no longer relevant? We all have our opinions as conservatives, but as someone in the field, how do you feel? What's the reason for this is?
Well, there's no amount of money in the news business that will buy back credibility. So for those who see the lies, I mean, Mike, what was it, 4 years ago to the day? You turned it off.
It wasn't as soon as Fox was the first one to announce that Trump, like watching that whole thing unfold with a open mind and independent thought, and not just following the narrative of what they tell us we're supposed to think. I said, I'm done with Fox. And my dad was talking to me about it, and he was like, well, I was like, no, I'm gonna pay attention, because I'm an independent thinker, and most of our people are. We had Vivian brought up her comment here earlier. She's like, I don't think exactly the same as you guys. I was like, that's great. I love the fact that you don't think exactly the same as us, because we need to make room for independent thinkers. And you brought up something earlier, Sam, that I want to make a point to underline, highlight, is the bias is coming largely from the advertisers, right? We look at Big Pharma, and I don't remember if you were the one I had this conversation with, or if it was somebody else, but I know you're aware of this and in the loop on it. Just take them as one example. Big Pharma, somebody asked somebody from pharma, or the doctors, somebody in the medical community, how many people buy prescription drugs, or how many people push their doctors to prescribe them prescription drugs based on ads that they see on Fox and others? And the answer was essentially zero, right? So the question then was, why is Big Pharma such a big advertiser on these platforms? And the answer is because they want to influence the direction of the news, because they want to push you in a certain direction, and they want to be able to silence voices like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's telling you the agenda of these big pharma companies. This is just one example. This is in every industry and every niche. They want to be able to silence and tell you, oh, what they're saying isn't true. They want to shut RFK up. They want to be able to indoctrinate you through, including Fox. And I'm going to continue, like, I'm probably going to get even more canceled than I already am for calling out Fox. But guess what? They're part of this bias too.
Yes, you know what they are, Mike? Legacy media thinks they're the gatekeepers of the truth, but really they're just guarding an empty vault. Because like you said, Sam, there's no accountability. And also, once you lose your credibility, you're done. It's just like when I became a PAO and journalist for the military, it was all about credibility. Like, once you screwed up, you were done. And a lot of people I knew left that field and went working for the acquirer in these I don't know what you call them, these supermarket tabloid things. And they couldn't get a job anywhere else. Yeah, these rags. You couldn't get a job anywhere else because you lost your credibility. And now we watch it every single morning throughout the day. We get lied to constantly by the media, and they expect us to think that they're credible. It's a shame. And then, Sam, I'm very happy that you got a company and a platform that's really doing and making a difference and actually bringing back the fourth estate. If for people who don't know what it is, Sam, can you explain that and explain why it's so important that we have journalists in America? Because I think people realize, or they don't realize, that our amendments, our rights are being trampled with and be taken away, but we need journalists in this country, and they're willing to throw it away because they don't like the word choices, or because they want you to say unalive instead of abortion. Why is it necessary to have journalists like you in this country?
You're only as good as the information you're receiving, right? So if you're going to make a decision and you're making a decision based on lies, but you don't know it's lies, I mean, it becomes your reality, right? So you need people out there that champion the truth and are going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not. The issue we face today is the legacy media is reading off a teleprompter. So they're not really reporting news. They're just reading a teleprompter. They have no idea what's going to show up in front of them each word. They're just saying them. It's coming from a government influence and advertiser influence. That's all it is. So they're not there to tell you the truth. They just believe it's the truth because they believe in their company. Now, there's been some people like Tucker Carlson and like others who have just left because they couldn't tolerate it anymore. They're like, look, this is BS. I know for a fact it is, and you want me to read this? Forget it. I'm done. But it's hard to walk away from a $2 or $3 million a year job when all you're doing is reading. It's, so it's important that people get the information no matter what it is. That's all I'm going to say. It's extremely important. My neighbors are patriots. They fly the American flag. They're in their 80s. They have flip phones. They don't even know what Rumble is, for God's sake. And they listen to CNN. They think Trump is a racist. They think Trump is, the worst person in earth because the media tells them that. And these are actually good people. And I have to tell you, I'm not a big fan of a lot of liberals. Okay. But these people are awesome. I mean, when I go over there and tell them some of the stuff that's hit, they're like, where do you find this information out? You're only as good as the information you have. They don't have access to the other information. We do.
Yeah, exactly. And this just goes to your point of, again, Viv, a contributor for 511 Media. We appreciate you, Viv, and everything you do for us. She says, I like Tucker on Tucker Carlson Network better than I ever did on Fox. And her point that she's making, and the same point you're making, Sam, is they put you in a box and tell you what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. And a lot of it's, go ahead and take it down, is dictated by the corporations that are funding, the other companies, the big pharma and all of these others that are funding the big news networks, the legacy news networks that frankly have largely lost the trust, at least of the people like us that are paying attention, and definitely the younger generations. Like you said, Sam, the older generation still trust the old news, the old guard, but that's going away quickly. And sadly, there's people that we care about that listen to the old guard, and because that's how they grew up, and because the news did used to be truthful. It did used to be news being reported, but that changed. And I don't know at what point that changed, Sam, but it changed quite a while ago.
It's when the consolidation happened. That's when it happened. When the 6 companies acquired everything, and now you don't have very many people to control to get the agenda out that you want. But when it was 400 and something odd independent news outlets, it's freaking impossible. Because if they come to you and say, we want you to push this, you're going to go, no, thanks. It was, independent people that own television networks in a specific market. Like in your market, you could have been the Fox or ABC affiliate. I could have been the one in mine. And so we're running our business the way we run our business, and I don't care what you think. But when it's consolidated by corporation, it's all driven by profit. It becomes a completely different animal.
Well, so Sam, what are the 6 corporations?
I know Disney's one of them, but I never pay attention to all of them.
We got CNN, Microsoft, MSNBC, Fox News, who's actually owned by Disney. By the way, I think it's important to say Fox is owned by Disney. So I believe that's right. You guys can fact check me on it.
Oh, no, you're spot on, because Fox is owned by Disney because the Simpsons are all over Disney now. Lisa, the best thing about that merger is Lisa Simpson becoming a Disney princess. Other than that, it's been horrible.
Yeah. So if we think that the news doesn't, including Fox, doesn't have a liberal bias, and I hate that I'm calling out Fox so much on this, but they are, and because I think so many of the conservatives rely on Fox to be the conservative counterweight to everything else. It's not as much as you want to think it is. So we have the new media. I think Real America's Voice is one of those. When we have some others.
Newsmax, One America News.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah. There we go. Daily Wire is a great example.
Frank Speech. You've got Patriot TV. They're smaller versions. You've got Brighteon. Mike Adams had that Brighteon thing with 24/7 News, which was him producing it. But he got rid of that, and now it's more of just like a Rumble type platform. But these guys are all doing a great job to get the proper information out. I mean, I'm gonna share something else with you guys. You know, there's two ways to win this war. I've said it before. One is through a violent revolution, which nobody wants. Okay. The second way is going to be through controlling information, which means you need to control mainstream media. The good news is the legacy media is on its way out. It's an antiquated product that in the next 6 or 7 years won't even exist. Maybe if I'm wrong, 8 or 9, it's gone. Okay. It's
like
not going to survive. Yeah, it's just not the way people consume information. In another 7, 8 years, the 70-year-old is now 77 or 78. I mean, the audience diminishes. And if you really look up, there's companies out there, there's research companies that big banks buy. The online ad spend, online advertising has been going on since what, 2000, something like that. So you're talking 24, 25 years. It's grown massively. It's 70% is expected to grow. So the online ad spend in the next 3 years is expected to jump 70%, which is unheard of. So I was thinking, is somebody going to come into more money? Okay, is that like what's happening? I mean, is Joe's Pizza going to have 10 times the money to spend? No, it's because the Procters and Gambles and the Home Depots are pulling their money from radio and TV and they're moving it to platforms because they need critical mass. Home Depot spends over $1 billion a year, and if Fox News audience, which was 3 million, which dropped to 1 million, is now at 300,000. I mean, it's over. They're not going to survive on that. So they need to push it to where people actually are to get the best bang for their buck. So you want to control mass media. Frank Speech, Real America's Voice, One America News, Frank. Newsmax. Okay, none of them are mass media. What I mean by mass media is I can't go to Frank's Speech and find out about my kid's Little League game. I can't go to Real America's Voice and find out about my kid's Little League game, or the bank robbery that just happened in Ohio, in Cincinnati, or the mall that closed in Chicago. I can't find that information out. You need a product that has a social component where every community member could be part of and contribute. You needed to have local news reporters, which are citizen journalists who are reporting the news by the hundreds of thousands, and content creators like you guys, the audio and video. But all that stuff's going to be, we can aggregate it all because there's no cost to me, and we can organize 100% of it. Because if it's a golf story, you know where it goes? In golf. Yeah. Okay. If it's a hockey story, it goes in hockey. If it's a food and wine story, like a recipe, it goes in food and wine. We could do that both on a local and national level. And that's where, so now imagine there are over 500,000 people on LinkedIn that call themselves freelance journalists, over 500,000. Mm-hmm. The platform we have now is a beta model, and it works fine, and it can handle about 1 million people a month on it. It would be about max. If I was to advertise to those 500,000 people with some compelling, join your news and earn money off your content, click this link, fill out the application and start posting today and making money. I don't think I'll get them all, but I bet you I get 200,000 or 300,000 of them. Okay. Yeah. Do you guys have any idea how much traffic 200,000 or 300,000 submissions would bring me? Yeah. 20, 30 million people a day. I don't have the bandwidth to be able to handle something like that. It would put me out of business the day it happened.
But you did bring up an excellent point. You highlighted how important the audience is. I think the audience doesn't understand the power that they have, the power as a consumer and the power as a viewer. Shout out to our viewers, Jen, Jared, Antoine, Sam, Assemblyman, Antoine McClellan. Thank you for watching. Price, Tyler, and Astrid. You guys all have power because you guys are watchers, you guys are viewers, and you can share this information. So why doesn't the viewer realize how important they are to this entire process? I feel like the viewer is the most neglected part in this media game.
Well, most people are the consumer. They're not the content creator. You guys are the content creators, and your job is to build a big audience so you could share that information with people. If it's somebody who writes a story about the high school football game in Illinois somewhere, that guy's the content creator, but he might have 10,000 people that follow him that he shares that content to. So there's more of an audience of consumers than there are content creators. Make sense? with 300 million plus people in the United States, you're probably not going to have more than 1 million content creators, which is a fraction of the population. But it'll basically bring everybody into one place and create one uniform media.
Mike, that's so important because, you know, content is necessary because we know the legacy media, they're entitled to, or beholden to their donors, they're beholden to their sponsors. So I love people like 511. I love stuff that you're doing, Sam, because it gives people a chance to talk about real stories that don't see the light of day. And something that's near and dear to my heart that we were talking about earlier is the human trafficking stories that get buried. I mean, buried in social media, buried in the news because no one wants to talk about it. It makes no sense because you'll have the Super Bowl come up, and that's one of the biggest trafficking days in the world. And you'll see, oh, we got this kicker. We got Taylor Swift buying a soda. But everyone's ignoring the kids being molested and raped all through the Super Bowl.
And that's just one example.
No, I get it. You're right. The good news is there's a lot of people that are pissed off. And with a model like mine, my model doesn't cater to the national advertisers. It caters to the local. My ads are on a best bid basis, which means if Joe's Pizza wants that spot in the upper right-hand corner, the CPM rate he's going to pay, the cost per thousand, is probably going to be 10 times what the local is or what the national is. But his bill's probably going to be $20 a month. It's nothing, but he gets placement. It's really we, the people, that are pissed off at what's happening, and everybody's disgusted with the legacy media, and everybody's disgusted that the borders are open, for at least all the people that are relevant. And so with a product like mine, the little guy that's in Jersey or in New York or in LA that owns a business that's disgusted with everything, those are going to be our advertisers. And they're going to be happy that stories were broken like this, and their ad was around that type of content. A private equity firm asked me one day, "Aren't you afraid with this type of content you're not going to get any advertisers?" I started laughing. I said, "There's 300 million e-commerce websites in the United States. There's 20 million storefronts. I couldn't even fit 0.1% of them on my site, and these people are pissed off." No, I do not think that's going to happen. I guarantee you, they will come in droves. And the little guy will replace the big guy. That's what'll happen.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a minute, Sam. The direction that you're taking your news, and you know, I want to let you talk about I'm not sure what you're okay with me in public and what you're not. So I'm going to let you talk about the direction and how you're building that and how you're funding that.
With your news, right? So
that's right.
Yes. So what we have, we have a model that's been proven. We have advertisers, we have content creators. Last year we had 5.4 million people consume over 100 million articles. So there's nothing really to prove here. It's the next step is, how do you take those 500,000 people on LinkedIn and move them over to us? How do you take the public? Because I'm quite certain there's millions of people out there that would like to become citizen journalists and start reporting the news and making money off of that. Just like there was millions of people that were on YouTube that are, that now a fraction of them are making a lot of money. But my point is they all set up YouTube channels to try and be able to promote whatever it is they're promoting and build an audience. The marketplace is here, but like every single tech giant, and this is something that has the ability to be Google big, and it replaces an industry. All of these companies were funded with massive amounts of money to scale them up at a faster pace. So the normal traditional route, what we're doing is we're doing something called a private placement. For your audience out there, we're a private company, so we're selling stock in the company. And private placements, you can only sell to accredited investors, which means you have to have a significant net worth. And bottom line is it eliminates 99% of the population, and you're only really able to sell it to the rich people and the institutional players and the people that don't need the money, right? They don't need to make the money. So when I was at the Reawaken America tour a few years ago in Miami, there was over 5,000 people there, and I looked around, and they're all patriots. They all came to see General Flynn and all the different speakers that were there. And I said, these are the people that really need to own my product. I think the people, we position ourselves as a news organization that's for the people, by the people. So in my mind, if we're for the people, by the people, why am I selling this to an institutional player? Okay, because are we not making the same damn mistake that, the legacy media made. So we decided to do it a little different route. We decided to do something called an equity crowd fund. For those of you who don't know what that is, equity is you're buying stock, but there's a way you could do it. It's not a give, send, go, or it's not a GoFundMe where, my mom broke her leg and we need an operation or something like that. This is different. You actually can buy stock, but anybody can buy it. So instead of being limited to the 1% and the institutional players, you could open it up to everybody. So for me, Jarrett and Mike, I would rather have, I'm doing a $5 million raise. I would rather have 5,000 people give me $1,000 on average than one person give me 5 million, because who am I beholden to?
That one person, yeah.
That one person, which is an institutional player. They're going to dictate where it goes. Look, I'm going to need institutional money, because to scale this thing up, you're going to need north of 100 million. I don't even know the exact number. I'm just telling you, it's a reality, and that's fine. I raise capital for a living, so this is what I do. I already have, like today at 5 o'clock for the 20th time, I'm talking to an institution that's a private equity firm that is extremely interested. And I will tell, and I like these people, and I will tell you, they have $100 million fund, and they're like us, especially the head guy. He's just disgusted. He told me the other day, I want to be on your board. You have any idea what kind of Rolodex this guy has? He could pick up the phone. So I got him so excited about the other day. He's like, I can think of 5 companies that would buy your business once we build it. And so the first thing I thought of was, this guy's already selling my business. He's already, who's going to buy my business? Because is it going to be some woke corporation? That's the first thing I'm thinking of.
Yep.
I mean, how are you going to save the people if you're selling this off to George Soros?
Yep.
So I didn't really say that. I just said, look, you're missing one person, because he named who they were. I didn't even know him. I said, you're missing Trump media. These guys would buy it. So right now we have a game plan, and that game plan is to bring the company public. I hired a guy to do it. He's taken 17 companies public. We should be able to do this within the next 12 or 14 months and have this as a public company. There's a reason, guys, why I'm doing this. It has nothing to do with me wanting to be heavily regulated by the feds, because I'm not interested in that. Okay. It's because it's a safety net, because they shut down Parler. They now just arrested the guy from Telegram. What do you think they're going to do to that thing? Okay. So if you're a public company and you have 20, 30 million shareholders that own stock in your company, nobody's taking it down, guys. Nobody's taking it down. It's not going to happen. So it's basically an ace in the hole for us, number one. Number two, it allows the public to own your product, which is the most important thing here. So what we did in our equity crowd fund, the company decides the minimum amount of money. And some of them are, $500, some of them are $5,000, some of them are $1,000. I made this $200. And the reason I did that, I could care less about the $200. It's the shareholder. I want 10,000 of them. Okay. Because now what happens is, when you guys are shareholders, what are you going to be doing? You own an equity stake in this. You're going to be out promoting it. You're going to be pushing content this way. You're going to be talking to more people. That it's the tentacles. Your reach just keeps getting bigger and bigger. If I have one person, I got the reach of one. If I have 10,000, I have the reach of 10,000. So what I'm doing is going on all these shows, and we're talking about what we're doing and how this saves the republic. Because, guys, at the end of the day, if you're not going to go into a civil war, you're going to need to control mass media. What I do is mass media, 100%. And this is where everything's going. And here's the thing. There is no shot I'm wrong. None. This will become, what I do will become the next mainstream media. It will either be me or somebody else that comes in behind me that has boatloads of money to do it. And it could be George Soros that does it. But nobody's in my space. I am the only player. So it's important that this gets funded, and then I'll take it the rest of the way to get it to the finish line. First step is create the new tech, which will be done in less than a year, which will be able to handle the amount of traffic that's going to come. We're also going to build that. The plan right now is to do it on the blockchain so that nobody can hack into it. You become hack proof. At some point in time, we'll have to control our own servers. We certainly don't want to. We don't want to put them with Apple or with Amazon. and then we start building the largest news organization in the world. It's not hard. The marketplace is here. I mean, everybody's looking for a place to go. We have the only solution. There's nothing else.
So we have the link to your crowdfund in the banner scrolling across the screen. But if we can also drop that in the comments, guys, so that they can get access to that. Yeah, perfect. We're gonna drop that in the comments. So if you're out there and you're interested, you say, you know what, I believe in what Sam's doing. I want to invest. I want to help him take it to the next level. Get out there and do it. And if you guys want to be a citizen journalist, if you just want to report stuff, we showed you how to do that earlier. But just go to yournews.com.
Yes. And if you're a bigger player, you want to understand further, shoot me an email, sam@yournews.com. It's pretty simple. I'll follow up. We'll have a conversation. We do a Zoom call. I can show you how this works. It's not rocket science. We've already got it figured out. It's bulletproof. The next step is we just need gas in the tank to take this to the next level. That's
right.
it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Jarrett.
You guys need to jump on this. So many people kick themselves because they didn't jump when Apple changed. They kicked themselves because they didn't buy stock in social media. You guys, there's a trend happening. Sam is in front of this trend. You need to get with him before you get left behind, especially people who work in legacy media. This is your chance to make a jump on the ground floor. And there's not that many opportunities like this happening nowadays. This is going to blow up. It's going to be huge. And you want to be there when it said, I was there when it first started, guys. You want to get there now.
Yep. Definitely. This becomes the next mainstream media. It's important that it happens, you especially want somebody like me, because this is not really, it's not money driven for me anymore. This is more of a cause. So, this cause is to bring stability back to the news industry and to this country, to get the information out. I'm going to assure you, this will become the next WikiLeaks, where all this information is going to come out. And it doesn't matter what side it's on. It's irrelevant. I mean, if you have, documents that show Donald Trump committed crimes, I think it should be published simply because the public needs to know, and vice versa. If it was Joe Biden, well, of course, all that stuff's out there, but there's no consequences. So, at some point in time, the pendulum is going to switch and go the other way. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. This is no way cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs lasts forever. Even the feds are freaking disgusted with it. You don't think those people on the border that are Border Patrol are disgusted with everything? I mean, it's all going to go the other way. I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you the exact date. I can't tell you who's going to win this election. I can tell you Donald Trump will win by a landslide. The problem is you're playing with scumbags who cheat. And I can assure you, if the three of us are playing poker and I'm cheating on every hand, you two will not walk out with a nickel. Okay. It's just how it's going to work. And that's what the Democratic Party is. I mean, and everything they do, it's a criminal organization is what it is. And I don't really understand their upside. They do. But the problem is you're messing with a population that has literally millions of guns. And it's not very bright to do, because at some point in time, when you poke the bear too much, something's going to happen and it ain't going to be good for you.
Yeah, the change is coming. We're not always going to be labeled extremely dangerous to democracy. Eventually we'll be labeled the truth, because we are the truth, not our truth, not the truth of the liberals, not the tribbles of the LGBT agenda. We're talking about the only truths that are out there, because there is one truth, by different points of views to get to that truth. But Sam, I love what you're doing. I definitely want to be involved. I'm going to send some articles. I think this is groundbreaking. You're doing something that needs to be done, and you're doing it in a way that's going to bring back this fourth estate and bring back to people to trust journalism again. Because like Mike says, I don't trust the media. I feel like it's all propaganda 24/7. And right now we're in a war. Whether, if you're a Christian, you're in spiritual war, you're a hardcore conservative, we're in a war for America. And someone who is a PR for the military, I know first and foremost, you do not win the war without winning the hearts and minds of the people. And through media is how you influence the hearts and minds. And right now, these hearts and minds are being corrupted. And we need more people like you, Sam, to put this in the right direction. I'm so excited I got a chance to talk with you. Mike, this was a great show. I mean, this is so fire.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
and guys, we're gonna be on this platform as well. We're working out the details of exactly how to do that and what it looks like. But we've already been in conversations with Sam for a while now, and we're gonna be having Jarrett and 511 Media team and contributors going to be pushing stuff there. 511 shows are going to be living there. So we're excited. We believe in everything Sam's doing. Go check out. We got the links for the crowdfunding in the comments. We have links to yournews.com in the comments. Guys, thank you for watching. Sam, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. We're excited to see how this continues to grow and develop. But guys, again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. God bless.
Thank you.